double checking YouTube. Looks good. Wait, no, that's the wrong YouTube. Alright, double checking YouTube. That's the right YouTube. Alright, everything looks good, so welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a lovely Tuesday morning. Yep, it is. And we're here mainly to provide support and answer any questions about our software and services. If you have any of those questions you would like answered, feel free to jump over to our IRC chat at foolishtechshow.com or foolishit.com/live. And we have a few ways that you can join our IRC and ask us questions. And otherwise, we're just going to ramble on about randomness. And if you do have anything and would like to interrupt, feel free at any time. So how's everybody doing this morning?
Doing very well, thanks.
Doing good.
Awesome. So we had talked about, and we've had a lot of questions about our Crypto Prevent bulk configurator. So essentially, buy a bulk license pack of Crypto Prevent. You get a option, or well, you have to basically submit a configuration so that we can give you an installer that has all of your choices predefined and set up and ready to go. We've had some questions on those and how to set it up, and people have been kind of concerned about only getting one installer. So we're going to go over that today and try to answer some of those questions. Michael, you want to take away?
Yeah, sure. So let me do my screen share. Hopefully it'll be okay. Tell me if it doesn't look like you would expect. But basically, I've downloaded the bulk configurator. This can be gotten from our website. Let's see if we go.
Now, what's the whole process there, Michael? So they first purchase a bulk pack of licenses, or?
Yeah. So basically, I'll go through the whole process here. But you would purchase a bulk license pack, I guess, from this page. Let's say you pick the bulk.
Are you sharing your screen right now, Michael?
I am.
It hasn't shown up on the
I don't see
video chat yet. You don't see him sharing a screen?
No, I do not.
How'd you do that, Michael? How'd you break Proctor's computer? Try stopping your screen share and sharing.
All right, I see it now. I got it. It's hiding.
Oh, but don't do that then, Michael.
All right, let me know when I'm good to continue.
Michael all of a sudden seen headlights.
Can I continue or no?
Not at the moment.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Proctor's screen adjusting.
I don't know why everything's all out of whack.
Yeah, that looks crazy, actually.
Yeah, I don't ever do anything with Steam too. I don't know why.
I'm glad I'm not. I'm not doing this today.
Almost there. Of course, Michael's screen sharing had to break the whole show. Alright. So, looks like... Whoa, that's a big chat. Alright, so... everything except for your start bar is visible. Well, no, Proctor fixed that now too.
Yeah, the start bar is not visible.
Okay. Oh yeah, you changed it back. All right, Michael. So you're good. Only thing not shown is your start bar.
I don't think you guys need the start bar for what I'm going to be doing. So, at any rate, you'll
two action.
So, okay, you'll be purchasing, a bulk pack. So whatever you'd buy that.
What do all those prices mean? That look confusing.
Okay, so this is all based upon a $99 value here. So this guy costs $149, this guy costs $199, $299, $649, and $999. Okay, the 10 pack is just $99. Okay, so you purchase one of those, and what you'll get then is a couple of things. You'll get a registration email, but you'll need an account to log into our website. So you do need to follow that link there to set up that account. If you don't follow that link, you won't be able to log in to download the tool.
Yeah, I know we've had some tickets recently where people did not use the registration link to create their account, and then they weren't able to get logged into the product fulfillment.
Yeah, and the thing is, it'll sort of know that you're in there, and so it'll allow you to do a password reset at that point and do other things that might make you think that is working, but it is not unless you follow that registration link. So please do that, and then once you get to our website, otherwise you'll want to follow the link in your purchase email to take you to the purchase center, but you can go to that. Here, it's going to be a specific one for you. It's going to be the bulk resale purchase center, and that's what'll be linked in your purchase email. You'll go here. This page requires a login. I'll log in.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, it did.
And then we'll get back to sharing. I hope this doesn't mess you up.
No, we just get to see full screen.
No, I'm just transmitting the output from the keylogger over the air.
Anyway, so the thing is, I don't like this that it redirects to the DMZ, because if they're crypto prevent, there's no reason they should be redirected. I'm going to change that page redirection. But at any rate, you want to go to the bulk resale purchase center and download the configurator. I've already done that, but that's what you'll want to do. So I have a copy of it here. You'll open that up and you'll just extract it to a random folder. And whoa. Okay, and so this is what you get. Now, you want to create a new installer. It's probably going to be your first step. Give it a name. Do not name it anything, even at all similar to what your company name is. So, for instance, test 1, 2, 3 would be acceptable. ABC Company Limited would not be acceptable. Okay, so we'll just go Michael's. I don't know, Michael's. Okay, I don't know. Don't even put in the weird punctuation in that either. So, okay, once you do that, you get this screen. You'll see your config name there at the top, and this looks very much like the advanced configuration under Crypto Prevent. In fact, all of the options on this page are essentially duplicated in the advanced configuration in the actual Crypto Prevent client. So honestly, these should be somewhat familiar to anybody that's used Crypto Prevent and set it up in that manner before. But we also have a lot of other additional things, and I'll go through each tab one by one, including the stuff at the top.
So if you wanted to test out the various protection levels you're about to set, what would you recommend?
if you're about to test out. So what I would recommend before you even go through this process, preferably before you even purchase, but you should download the free version of Crypto Prevent and test with that to see if the settings are going to work for you. As far as what's under here, you may not understand the implications of any of these checkboxes, for instance, but there's a really easy way to figure out if it'll pose a problem in your particular environment. You can run Crypto Prevent and the free version, and it logs all of its activity in its alerts, and you can use that information to determine what's going on. We can assist you with potentially working through it if you provide us with that information, and and that's a great way to try it all out. So getting back to the submission and going over the options, we'll you'll want to fill out everything, and including your product key. Make sure you type it. You're going to be delivered a product key that's going to have hyphens in it. There's a space before and after each hyphen. So
usually you want to copy and paste that from the product key email you get.
I'm just gonna again just give an example, but it should look like this with the space before and after each hyphen. Copy and pasting is great. Do not include a space before the first character. So do not do something like that, and do not do something like that, having a space at the end. The number of licenses purchased or requested, this is just to help us verify and locate your purchase, but we will always be fulfilling it for the number that you've purchased.
Well, there are scenarios where you would want to have a different number there. So, say if you bought a 250 pack and you wanted 50 to go to one division or company, and then another 100 to go to a different one, and then another 100 to go to a different one, you could create those 3 different configs. So if each one had different email settings, you would create 3 different configs with the names that we started off with in the beginning, and then submit all 3 of those with the different number that you want on that installer. But it is good to note that you get 1 installer with your bulk license purchase, and then each additional installer is a $25.
Yeah, so you'll note that text right above there. Yeah, there are situations where you might have a different number here, but in many cases it's going to be what you purchase. But regardless, put what you would like there. Just also note that on unlimited installers, you do not get the ability to have your licenses, so you can't have dole out licenses in individual quantities if you purchase like that. Now, this notes field is basically gets read by a technician fulfilling your request, your build request. So if you put something like, say, I need to combine these licenses onto another key or something like that, we'll be able to interpret that and act on it. So we do have requests from time to time to combine licenses with the previous purchase. The information we need to make that happen is basically just the product keys of the previous purchase, and what we'll do is we'll typically add those keys to the one you're submitting, and that would be maybe a way that you could communicate that. You could always also write us an email, of course, and request that. Any other way you can get in touch with us, we'll be happy to do it. But the notes field is convenient, and it's right here for you. And the reason we put it there is to facilitate that type of communication. So anything you want to tell us there, feel free. Now, this first tab at the bottom is going to have just basically controls the behavior of the installation and the creation of the shortcuts. So it's pretty self-explanatory whether or not to restart, and the creation of the various shortcuts. So keep that in mind. We've had some users request that they wanted to know how to disable accessing Crypto Prevent. While we don't have anything built into Crypto Prevent to prevent it from being run by a user on a system, it does require admin privileges, so that will maybe prevent your users from running it. But we can also just disable the shortcuts, and Script Prevent really isn't noticeable when it's running. Not creating the shortcut will make it particularly difficult for someone to know that it's there and know where to go to access it. Then the software restriction policies tab. This is again a duplication of what's inside the Crypto Prevent advanced options. This basically, these protected locations are locations where Crypto Prevent will prevent the execution of executables from. So if your programs require that an executable be run from one of these locations, there's going to be difficulty. But typically these are safe. The ones here at the top to block, they don't typically have any side effects. There is one instance that I know of, and I believe that's in the case of Spotify, where the default level, which is basically these block locations at the top, they will it'll prevent it from running.
Well, bless you.
Sorry about that. Okay. Down in the middle here, we have the blocking the execution of various files that sometimes ransomware likes to run, particularly to, in the case of the VSS admin, to delete shadow copies, and you can usually typically safely block those things. But if you have a server, you may not want to block VSS admin. And I actually did have a case of somebody needing Cypher as well, so keep that in mind. These misprojections at the bottom are also considered to be safe. They don't typically cause problems for anyone, so I recommend those generally probably be left alone there. The ones on the right all do have consequences to enabling, so you got to keep these in mind. Many of these, or the top one, excuse me, the bottom one. The bottom one will have the most impact. It will typically block the installation of program updates and program installations. So keep that in mind for that one. BCD edit may prevent backup applications from working correctly, possibly. There's a legitimate circumstance where that might be an issue for you. And then this one here, I think this one's pretty safe, but it basically just prevents the execution. You know, if you open up a zip file and double clicked on it, it would basically prevent the execution of that. I don't think it's a good idea to have an executable just randomly extracted from a zip. If you want to access it legitimately, I believe you should just unzip it first and then launch it. But keep that in mind. So I think that covers all those options. Am I forgetting anything? No, I don't think so. Okay, so the whitelist. Now, note that most people will be concerned, that they'll have to develop an extensive whitelist before deployment. That's not the case. This option at the top here, we're already, by default, at least if you leave this checked, we'll be whitelisting everything on the computer that Cryptobit is installed onto. So that the hope and the design is that it's not going to prevent anything from running that's currently on your system. This also means that you have to be absolutely sure that the computer you're deploying to is not already infected. Obviously, you don't want to whitelist malicious software, and Cryptobit is not going to be effective in those cases. So you'll need to take care of that prior to deployment. But we typically don't really see the need for most customers or we don't have them. Many of them have to provide a whitelist in advance to us. But if you are aware of an application that may be pushed out to your users after the deployment of Crypto Prevent, that would be a case certainly where you would want to stick it on there. And it's I know it seems like this would open up a page, but it's I don't think it actually. Yeah, it doesn't actually tell you how to. It doesn't link. It doesn't link correctly. But the whitelisting is easy. It's path rules. You can use even like that, for instance, there, but it's one per line, and it needs. It can't have any wildcards in it, but it can have, as I said, the environment variables. The variables there to point to various locations, and they're basically the same as you'll see here, these variables here. So you can do that. Let's see, under the filter module protections, this is just relating to the filter module. Keep that in mind, particularly for the options here to the right. They're only relevant to the filter module. So the filter module typically will, I don't recommend the beta, by the way. There's a significant incompatibility with modern versions of Microsoft Office, at least 2013 and beyond, including Office 365. Their click-to-run technology will be prevented if you do that. There is a workaround in the sense you can launch it with administrative privileges and get around it, but I believe it's probably gonna cause too many problems to effectively leave enabled, unless you are deploying to an office with maybe a client with Office 2010. It would be acceptable in those cases. We do the checking of CPL, SCR, and PIF files. I don't know if you all are familiar with what those are, but these are old style control panel editions. CPL files, that's what that is. Used to be that certain maybe piece of hardware, maybe a mouse or something might stick a special CPL in the System32 folder for an applet to configure the buttons on the device or something like that. Just to give you an idea. SCR files are screensavers. PIF files are program information file. It's an old style Windows 3.1, basically MS-DOS shortcut. I don't really see many people using that in this day and age, although I did have a customer mention that, so that they were using an niche application with that. If you're unsure and you think your users might need to access it, we recommend the suspicious filtering. But if you don't want to, if you want to block all of them, certainly constant is an option as well. And this is an either or thing. It's not gonna, you can't check them all, as you can see. And then the notifications options. I recommend the no running anyway. I do kind of recommend checking this one, the no run anyway prompt, because you don't want your users to bypass something that the filtering is blocking. But remember, this only affects the program filtering. This does not affect the software restriction policy. So if you're checking that to hope to allow a software restriction policy, that is not how that operates. Software restriction policies cannot be overcome except through whitelisting. Silent blocking, that's a little rigid. If you check that, you're probably users are going to be a little bit weirded out by just something abruptly not running. So I don't see that being too terribly useful, but take it into consideration. And then an email alert. Again, all related to program filterings. You will always get an email notification on a software restriction policy violation if you have the email notification set up. And speaking of that, this is where you enter in your email settings. Excuse me. Please note that you have to have enable email alerts checked. I have had people submit without having that checked. So please make sure you have that if you intend to use email alerts. And all this information here is required, except for this guy down here. That's the only one that's not required. So you will need to populate these fields. Now, there are a couple of exceptions. If you have an open relays or other authentication things going on, it's possible you could leave some of these fields blank, but you'll want to be able to test it out in your environment. I recommend testing with the free version of Cryptobrand. This send test sounds like a great way to test it, but it doesn't always, it's not always 100% reliable at confirming it. I've seen the send test succeed when in fact it would not otherwise. But if you set it out, if you again test it out with the free version of CryptoPrevent, you should be able to find your email settings that work correctly for your environment. To give you an example, Gmail might be something like this. That's maybe not a good example. You can probably have something like this set up.
Well, that would be smtp.gmail.com.
Oh, where's my server? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Not just blah there.
I thought I was confirming my password. My apologies. Yes, not just blah there. But to give you an idea, you want to put in your entire email address here, not just the me part. You want to have your server name there. And you guys get the idea. It's pretty straightforward. I did make a note of the license here. I didn't touch on the zip password. This is used to encrypt your the zip file that we build for you on our server. Now, you will need that to unzip it, so you might want to put in there something other than the randomly generated one we provide, if for your convenience. But keep that in mind. And then the only thing that's left is the update settings, and you have so many options here. Basically, pick the time and whether or not you want to. Well, this just relates to XP, but if you want to restart after program updates. But at any rate, let's see. Covered everything. And then when you're finally done, this is the big one. When you're finally done, nobody knows what to do. They're looking for buttons apparently, or something else that they need to push. It's actually a menu choice right up here. See this?
Before you continue, just remind everybody to check, double check your contact email to make sure there's no typos in it. Had a lot of those.
Yeah, we do get that happen from time to time. Please, double check all the information before. Please double check that information before you submit, because we will basically blindly send it to the email that's up there. Also, double check your product key again, that it appears correctly. All of that will certainly speed things up with us getting it built correctly for you. And then you just go up here, you hit finalize and submit, and that will send it to us. Or if it fails, let's see. So you get if there's an error, but if it fails, it will actually offer to attach the submission to an email. You can always attach and send it to sales@foolishit.com. We'll be happy to process it for you that way if there's some trouble with your network configuration that doesn't allow you to submit directly to us. I believe.
After they submit one, what happens?
Okay, so after you submit through here, we'll have to actually do the build for you. Now, that's not an immediate process. So if you don't see an email back after hitting the submit button immediately, it'll probably just need to wait a little while. Can take up to 24 hours, but during most business days, we'll typically have it built far more quickly than that. But keep that in mind if you are planning, or if you have any sort of deadlines for deployment. You want to make sure you have yours submitted to us a day in advance to guarantee it. We do builds on a first come, first serve basis, and we can receive a large number of builds in a day. And so we want you to we want to get the information back to you, of course, in the quickest way we can. But we also have to accommodate all of our other customers as well with that. So please keep that in mind. And what you'll receive back when we do complete the build is an email containing a link to your installer, and you'll be able to download it at that point. Now, you absolutely need to download it and save it. We only keep your installers up there on the server, I believe, for a week. So, it will be removed at some point, and we might need to rebuild it for you if you contact us later than that. So the first thing you would want to do when you receive that email, the fulfillment email, is download your installer and then test it out. Make sure the settings are working for you as you desired. If you find any problems or want to make any adjustments, you can contact us back. We will consider the day of purchase, if you have a build, and then you come back the next day and resubmit, we'll understand. It's more than likely for testing. We can see the number of licenses you've deployed, though, so we know very well if you're testing or not with your clients. But once you actually start deploying with one, at that point, testing is no longer valid, and we do charge the $25 for an additional installer. If you're concerned about that, you can always put the word test in the notes field there to communicate to us explicitly that this is intended for testing purposes. We'll be happy to accommodate that for you. Yeah, so I guess that's that.
Cool. Any other questions or things that come up randomly throughout that process?
Proctor, did you?
I think that pretty much covered it.
Sweet. So that. Go ahead.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of people that were concerned they were going to get charged $25 for new installers if they made a mistake in the original one. But you covered that, so.
Yeah. We're not gonna we're not trying to. This is not a revenue stream. It's designed to basically the $25 is designed to account for the time it takes us to go through and do the build, which is not it involves actual doing the build. We create both an MSI and an EXE for you. We have to sign it and do various other things. All of that takes technicians' time, and we want to provide that for you, but we do have to account for that. But we're not stingy. In other words, we're not trying to, we don't want this to become a revenue stream for us, frankly. So if you have testing needs, we'll be able to take care of you. Don't worry if you accidentally submit to us. If you just happen to just push the submit button and you had all the wrong settings in there, it's okay. Nothing negative will happen to you. If anything, we'll contact you and discuss it with you if we're concerned. And we don't blindly charge you. We don't have access to your credit card in any way, shape, or form here. So it's not like we can just put a bill on your card or anything like that. So please don't be concerned about that. And if you ever were concerned, feel free to call us or email us or chat with us here, anything like that.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, do we have anything else we want to throw on that? Going once, going twice. All right, you can go back to the regular share, Proctor.
All right.
Cool. So that was some good and helpful info. Thank you, Michael.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you, Proctor, for having the idea for it.
Yeah, no problem. We get a fair amount of tickets related to questions about the Bolt configurator.
Excellent. Well, we have a perfect place to be able to talk about those. So, well, past all that, since we didn't do any links yesterday or today so far, I had a really, really interesting one that I came across. This YouTube video is how to send an email, and it's from a show called Database back in 1984. And of course, their how to send an email is quite interesting. Essentially, it's back when it seems like BBS style, where they're calling up the computer and then able to send a message to someone else that logs into that same computer. Really interesting note there that they were talking about one particular server, and they said later that they would give any updates on CompuNet whenever it started to come around. So we all know where CompuNet ended up going. But the most interesting thing I thought about this YouTube video was that they actually transmitted software over the show. So this is back in the time of modems and such, and they did say that you would want to hook your line-in jack directly into your TV's audio, but essentially you can record the transmission they play and get software off of it, because they're basically just playing the modem sounds over the TV stream. I thought that was pretty freaking awesome.
That is cool.
I mean, obviously it'd be dial-up modem speed, so I'm sure they weren't like transferring hundreds of megs, if they could even store hundreds of megs at that time. I still thought it was a pretty interesting option, and kind of makes you think that there could be some ways to kind of bring that back even. Like you wouldn't necessarily have to have a modem to decode that. I'm sure you could get a decoder program or a compiler that compiles just from modem noise to binary or something like that. But I think that would be another kind of security through obscurity type thing, because like if someone's listening in on your calls and then you just start playing modem static, more likely they're just going to ignore it and not try to actually record it and decode it and convert it to a program. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What else do we got? Oh, so we had talked about all the hackers and information is power and stuff like that. Well, apparently you can download tons of free Coursera courses, but you should go ahead and do this now because they are actually going to be discontinuing those courses. The upcoming, I think June 30th was the deadline for this. But if you wanted a bunch of free courses that taught you about all kinds of things, they have a couple options there, a Chrome extension and a Python script, which will basically search for through Corsica and download all the materials and name them correctly and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. What else we got? RTM Tech's not here. I'm sure he would know what this is, but do any of y'all know what a microburst is?
Radio related?
Nope.
I think it's a song from OSI.
That's a possibility, but this is in relation to planes. So apparently a microburst event is when there's like a large gust of wind, like in the 40, 50 plus knots range. And in this video, you actually get to see two planes that were on the runway take off without anybody starting them up or going, because the wind is just blowing so strongly that the aerodynamics of the plane force it to just take off into the air. It's actually fairly creepy to watch and know that that can happen. Like if you're just sitting on the runway and all of a sudden your plane just takes off without the pilot in there, it might cause a little bit of concern on your part.
Do the planes crash after they take off?
They did not show the end game of that, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. I would imagine so.
I mean, okay, really take off? I mean, really take off?
Yeah,
Or like,
really, like really took off. Like they're coasting off into the sunset.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of ways to like lasso a plane that's run away. So
thinking of like a team of drones, maybe.
I imagine wherever it ended up falling down is where they went and tried to recover it. But these were like just little tow planes, so they were kind of like the smallest of the small planes, single propeller and fixed wing.
Made of balsa wood, right? Yeah.
Possibly.
I filled with helium too.
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really interesting event, and being able to see that. It would be kind of interesting to find out what they do, how they recover those kind of things.
Ooh, excuse me.
Because I imagine once the wind dies, the plane falls to the ground, and then they go and pick it up. But unsure. All right, well, I got another interesting video as well. This one's on Vimeo, though, and this one is an hour and 20 minutes long. But if you ever wanted to have your 90s nostalgia moment, this Megaplex video does a fairly decent job of throwing everything 90s at you. I think they said it was like thousands of cuts from more than 80 movies. Pretty interesting.
It's totally focused on 80s movies?
No, that one's focused on 90s stuff.
Oh.
They have another one, I think, that's focused on 80s movies.
Oh, well, that's the one I want.
Okay, let's go find that one. Oh, so people that have issues with Hangouts and notifications, I've came across another program you can try. See if
What
it's
issues?
different.
What's the issues?
But no, I was just saying, I know that some people have had issues with Hangout notifications not notifying.
I've got issues with Facebook notifications not respecting my decision to not notify.
Oh.
I went through the email account that I used for Facebook this morning, and I haven't checked it in over a year or two at least. Because I don't care about Facebook, and that's why I use an email account that I don't check. But I had disabled everything. Well, apparently last year they had re-enabled everything. So I deleted over 6,500 Facebook messages this morning that had nothing to do with my wife or a few friends.
Nice.
Wow. And this is just from like late last year. I think it was re-enabled automatically or something somehow, everything. And every time, and a little unsubscribe bit at the top, from Google, thank you, Google. And so I click that, but then it takes me to the Facebook part where it's like, unsubscribe to, and it gets really specific. It's like unsubscribe to people who post notifications on their timeline when the moon is full. And I'm like, why do you need all these different? I want to unsubscribe everything. Anyway.
Well, this one only focuses on Hangouts, and I haven't tried it yet, but it's another option if you're. There's really not very many good options for interacting with Hangouts other than on your phone. The desktop version has so many iterations that it's ridiculous to try. The Hangouts.google.com is what I've been using for the past few months, but it's still kind of weak compared to the mobile app. So
what have you been using, Bradley?
Just Hangouts.google.com.
Oh, okay.
Web browser.
I've been using that lately too, Brantley. And when I rebooted my computer the other day, that old desktop app that I had disabled in Chrome like several times has re-enabled itself and is now on my desktop.
I think you may just have computer poltergeist.
It's the cloud, man. I don't do this. These things I don't do.
They just magically re-enable.
What probably happened is I may have turned on my laptop that I haven't turned on in a year or something, some device, or logged into some device that I haven't in forever, and it synced the setting back to enable why?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not.
That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah, you would think that their syncing would say, "Oh, this one's older than what's
Yeah."
synced." But,
yeah, let's take the newer decision, huh?
well, speaking of Chrome, Microsoft has gone off and made a video to downplay
the RAM usage.
Downplay the.
Oh yeah, I read this. Yeah, so they're upplaying. They're not. I don't know about downplay, but they're just selling or trying to upsell Edge's advantage in battery life. So apparently, at the default settings, if you use Edge to stream video or whatever, it's going to last longer. Your battery's going to last longer than doing the same activity under Chrome or Opera or Firefox or any of the other browsers, and that's what Microsoft is pushing. I'm just
can't do much with our browser, but our battery life will let you do that less longer.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's some value to what they're saying. But yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison, because I believe if Edge were doing the same things that those other guys were doing,
but don't you want it to do less things?
Yeah.
Without your consent and in the background and whatnot.
I suppose, but it's their graph or their.
I don't use Edge, and I'm not advocating Edge whatsoever. But
does anyone know if Edge has Edge done the process isolation stuff as well?
That I don't know.
I know Chrome
sandboxes
every tab.
Oh, okay, a sandbox tab. I think they do. I thought Internet Explorer had that option at one point.
I don't know if I honestly haven't used it enough since IE7 to be able to tell you.
Yeah, no, me too. But Windows Explorer will run in a separate process. I mean,
it does sandbox, I believe. Edge.
I would, and I know, and that's not entirely it, but.
Well, Google did it first. I just wanted to know if they had caught up with that fact yet. I want to say I remember seeing, like, if you open just one Edge tab, you get 2 processes no matter what, but I wasn't positive if they went the full route on it or not.
Well, we can find out. Oh, and we were talking about desktop Edge or Metro Edge, or is there a difference? No, I don't know. Is Edge only Metro?
No,
I don't think Edge is Metro at all.
No.
Yeah, Edge is only a desktop app.
Oh, okay. Let's see what I got here. I found it somewhere in my start menu. Typing thing is
not letting me start typing.
What?
IE7 was the first browser to.
I have 3 processes with one tab open. I have Edge exe, Edge cp.exe, 2 of those. What happens when I do another tab? I get another 2 processes.
Okay. So they split up their processes a lot.
And when I open a 3rd tab, I get nothing new additional.
Well, that's fun.
Maybe I should go somewhere in the tabs. Yeah, that's probably what'll do it. Let's see.
Well, while you check on that, Proctor, I found another thing for you to spend more money on.
Other thing to what?
Spend more money on besides all your kids. These are screwdrivers that look like lightsabers.
Awesome.
It does not.
$20 set from ThinkGeek.
They have toothbrushes and those little lights you throw in the pool too.
Sweet.
Cool.
Or I don't know about but I got those lights for the pool at Kitty Hawk Kites. And then I got the well, I didn't get the toothbrushes actually, but I saw them at Rite Aid. Not ThinkGeek.
I was about to say, those don't sound like ThinkGeek either.
Well, yeah, and I will tell you something though. I used to buy a lot from ThinkGeek, and or I used to buy from ThinkGeek rather than Google the same thing elsewhere after shopping on ThinkGeek. I used to do that, but I can no longer support ThinkGeek because if you don't purchase from them in a certain amount of time, they wipe all your Geek points and.
Jeez.
Is our show just not being watched today?
I guess not.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Angry Nick on the show today. Come on.
Well, this is some news that I'm really excited about.
Ooh, I'm excited about this. I did just close Edge, and all of the processes did disappear.
Oh, that's nice of them.
That is nice of them.
So I was a really big fan of the Prometheus prequel to the Alien series, and they have the sequel to that coming up, Alien Covenant, and it's going to
Yay.
Would you just make me a list of movies to see? I've never heard of that.
Prometheus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could try to do that. It was a really good one though. I really liked it compared to the other Aliens. Like I actually
much
that more than the original Alien series.
It was a decent movie, but I have a little bit more critical things to say about it. But
Well, I'm excited to see where they pick up with, because they have both the two characters that were at the end of the movie in the new movie.
All right, well that's cool. I can dig
Head
that.
of the cyborg.
Like they may be picking up with them going to the home planet of the aliens, which
that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope
Yeah,
they do something
so-
like Ender's Game.
Nothing. Well, yeah, that would be awesome. But from what the setup of it was that is probably not what's going to happen there. But
Yeah, the Enders is
yeah, they had a little bit more prep time
and fleet and
This-
hundreds of thousands of lives and stuff.
This is actually just a doctor and the head of an android stealing a ship and using its autopilot to go. So,
Not exactly the same caliber
Yeah.
as Andrew Wiggins. Yeah.
Either way, I'd like to see where they're going with it, because like I said, I was really impressed with Prometheus, so I think that will.
Well, as long as we're pimping movies, I'll just say Ender's Game again. But,
Yeah, that was a good movie.
but it was an even better series of books
Yeah, much better.
from Orson Scott Card. And actually, I read the Bean series first, just to throw that out there. And Bean is the reason why I like that so much is because Ender's Game, the first book, and then came Ender's Shadow, or that might have been
Ender's Game,
But-
and then in the series, Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 of them. There's more. Like I haven't read the last couple, but then there's the Bean series, and what I liked about it so much was it was the same universe and the same story as told from 2 different characters,
Mm-hmm.
which was always really nice. And Orson Scott Card also did was behind a video game called Advent Rising a while back. I guess it's probably 05 or 6 or something, but it was one of those games where you can like do your own thing, and the story is way different depending on what you do.
Oh, that's cool.
But anywho, I always like that. Different character, same story kind of thing.
Yeah,
You know?
I like games that let you do whatever and it dramatically
Yeah.
changes it. You don't see many games like that ever.
Yeah, I know. It's wow. I guess they're hard to make.
They're very hard.
You have to make like 40 games or something, and then people are like, "Why can you only do 40 things?"
Yeah.
Because we only spent 3 or 4 years making it. That's why.
So BitTorrent, in other news, is launching a news service, a live streaming news service, in time for the upcoming presidential stuff.
Oh,
They're,
nice.
they're doing a whole lot of stuff.
BitTorrent peoples.
Yeah, BT Sync actually they just restructured under a whole new company, so it's not BT Sync anymore. It's Resolucio or something like that, and they're on their own company now. So, they seem to be into quite a bit. But from what I understood, the person that they put in charge of the Resilio, whatever they call BT Sync's rebranding, is also the person that did the BT Sync and the messenger and things like that. So I guess they're going to put all that under one, and BitTorrent is going to do other things still. How did BitTorrent make money? Like they just gave their
Ads?
protocol away,
They
and
have ads, didn't they? I mean, in their client. I mean, they had a client, right?
yeah, they had a single client
They had
for.
the first client. Obviously, they had the tag, but
I wonder how they do it now, though. Like, how are they coming up with money to make all these new products?
I don't use torrents. I don't know.
Well, and the people that do use torrents, I never hear them using the BitTorrent client. So
Yeah, yeah. That was like, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of interesting there. I mean, it has been an extremely good protocol, and the products they come out with seem to be fairly good. I really enjoy BT Sync still. So just thought it was interesting that they're doing a streaming news service, and I guess that would be really good, is not having to rely on a central server to provide
Mhm.
news stories. So.
That is good. I'll say that.
Well, here's a people of Walmart thing, and this is why I love people of Walmart.
Oh, goody.
That would be awesome, and that's one of the greatest ideas I've ever seen. The article I posted there says it's a spectacularly stupid thing to do, but I believe setting the firework display in Walmart on fire is probably one of the best things you could have happen in your Walmart trip.
Well, stupid is because you're going to get caught, but it's still Walmart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Walmart.
Well, as far as getting caught, like they would be able to go back and check the footage later.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're going to be like, all right, somebody check the footage while we're trying to put out this fireworks.
I know, yeah.
I think it's just you wouldn't be able to go back to that Walmart anymore, and hopefully no one recognizes you from that.
I don't know, man. But because they get your face, and they got a little camera in the parking lot. They're gonna catch you going to your car and your license.
Idiots could face up to 20 years in prison because it's a class 2 felony. Apparently, what they did.
Yeah, and I don't advocate any sort of vandalism at all, but
it's right below a murder charge. Apparently,
it's Walmart.
Yeah,
they could have hurt somebody really bad though.
Yeah, they could, but still, it's pretty cool.
I don't know, but yeah.
But yeah, and I guess that's another point too that's been making a lot of news is if they do have your face, almost certainly the FBI will be able to track you down because they apparently have access to 421 million photos for facial recognition comparison now. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody who gets a visa or anything like that.
This guy says the Walmart near his house in the comments, I was reading this, has deodorant locked up, but this one just has fireworks laying out there. Next guy says, you must be in the ghetto. I've been to Dollar General's where they keep the laundry detergent under lock and key.
Oh, comments are sometimes better than stories.
They usually are.
Hey, we have a question in chat from Fool4878. Have any of us heard of the E52670 CPU?
Yeah, the Xeon, yeah. What about it?
What have you heard about it?
I mean, just that it's a Xeon chip. It's got it's a newer one, I think, but it's nothing. I'm pulling it up now, say, but I don't. What? Yeah. No, it's not a newer one. It's an old one. I thought he was talking about the V4s, the E5 V4s and stuff like that they have. This is the original one, unless he's talking, unless he clarifies it with a V or something at the end of it. This one reached its end of life in 2015, in the second quarter 2015, and it was introduced in 2012.
What is it used for?
I mean, it's got, let's see, 8 cores, 16 threads. It's an 8-core chip. DDR3, quad channel. I mean, it's what is it used for? I imagine it would be good for any, high performance computing scenario or transaction scenario, OLTP. There's lots of uses for it, but I mean, it's it's nothing special. I mean, Intel's had these chips out for quite some time now.
All right, enough of you floundering. So yes, Fool, we have heard of that. If you'd like any more, Michael might be able to talk with you at lengths about it.
He quit though.
Oh well. I guess you told him everything he needed to know.
I guess I would have liked some pushback on it, because there may be, like I'm saying, like there's if he doesn't.
Versions, yep, we got all that. This is something I thought was pretty interesting. Have any of y'all actually tried to photocopy money?
No.
Put it in a copier and have it print out?
Absolutely not.
Of course not.
Well, it is illegal, but I thought this video was pretty interesting, that your photocopier will actually just stop printing if it detects its money, and it's able to detect most all major currency for few various reasons, which they kind of go into in that article and video that they have there. I thought that was pretty interesting, because I mean, obviously, if you photocopy money, it's not like you got something that's counterfeit legit there. It's not like you're going to go into a laundromat and start paying off your bills. So it is kind of archaic that photocopiers won't let you copy money, but I just thought it was pretty interesting that it detects it and it just outright doesn't print for you. So it'll copy it, it'll scan the image, but it won't actually do the printing side of it. And there were some other interesting regulations on money in there too. I found quite interesting. You can't use money or the image of money in advertising. I didn't know that. That's illegal. Stamps, same thing. You can't have images of stamps for anything. It's illegal to display stamps and things like that.
So is this illegal?
No, actually, on video you're fine showing it, but in any kind of print, it's not fine. As long as you don't alter it in any manner.
I'm pretty sure I can find a scanner that violates those rules.
I would say you'd be hard pressed.
I'd say an old scanner would do it just fine.
I imagine when scanners came out is when they were like, "Oh, we can't be having this."
I seriously doubt that.
I'm pretty sure that there's a bunch of old cannons out there that don't
There are scanners out there that will.
Well, apparently too, there's another thing that that's incorporated into software even now. I forget what the acronym they called it or what the acronym stood for, but it's like built into Adobe Photoshop. So if you try to bring in any piece of a bit of money into Photoshop, Photoshop will just be like, "Oh, we can't edit that. Sorry." So if you just like try to take a picture of $1 and edit it in Photoshop, Photoshop is built to not allow you to do that.
I don't have Photoshop.
Well, I know what I'm doing with my afternoon.
Taking a picture. Yeah, exactly.
Photoshop and dollars.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Where's my camera? There we go. Okay. There's my nice brand new $20 bill here.
All right, so make sure everybody
is it illegal to I guess scan a dollar bill, even though you say you can't do it, and then change the image, so that it's obviously not a dollar bill or not currency?
From what I picked up, yes, it's illegal to do anything with money that's not just leave it as money and use it as money. I didn't
if you wanted to make a fake currency, you would need to just totally be original with it.
Yeah,
pretty much from what I understood from that. But then, like, at the same time, you have to wonder because, like, Monopoly money and that chocolate candy and things like that. What are those?
Payday bar? What are you talking about?
No, like the coins that are gold coins. They're chocolate.
I don't know. I don't eat chocolate or sweets, so I have no idea. But yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But what are you saying about that? You're saying that they're in violation of some law because
Well, if it's illegal to make anything that looks like money.
yeah, I mean, that can't that can't be enforceable. I mean, I don't know. It's just
Well, it was kind of interesting too. They talked about how TV shows and movies use real money, and then if they have to do something to it, that's usually the only time that they use fake money for it. So most of the money you see in TV and shows is actually legit currency. All right, well, I got one more interesting link here, and we can wrap her up for today, it looks like. So Ticketmaster just settled a class action suit, and if you check your account and you actually ordered directly through Ticketmaster, you may have some vouchers for free concert tickets to be able to redeem as a part of the payment for that class action suit. Because instead of sending out people a check for whatever amount they ripped you off, they're just going to give you money to be ripped off again by buying more tickets or something. But it sucks because the concerts that I bought stuff, even though they ended up being purchased through Ticketmaster, they were like through third-party vendors of Ticketmaster, and I apparently don't have any past events on my calendar. So,
Hey, wait a minute. I'm just going to back up for a minute.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
What?
I just remembered when I was a bartender, I got photocopied money one time.
What happened?
I told them to give me real money.
Well,
Oh, somebody tried to pass it to you?
so it was counterfeit to where they handed it to you and you knew it was fake?
It was literally a sheet of paper that they had money, sheets of paper, photocopied money that I think they were even single-sided, and it was they were, it was like a couple, a bunch of ones wrapped in a bunch of real ones or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know it's happened, but this was what, 14, 15 years ago. 15 years
Yeah.
ago, at least, so.
Well, Learman had a over at InBuy Solutions. We stopped and saw him on our trip here.
Yes.
He had a photocopy of money on his wall, and I was like, "Hey, what's that?" And he was like, "Oh, you never heard that story?" I was like, "No, what story?" And he's like, "So I put this laptop up for sale and was trying to get rid of it for $400, and it stayed on like Craigslist or the equivalent of Craigslist out there for a few weeks, and I was about to take it down. I actually did take it down, and then I got a call about it, and they were like, "Hey, I'm calling about the laptop," and he was like, "Okay," and he's like, "Do you still have it?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like $400, and he's like, "All right, I'll be down there to get it shortly." So Michael ends up getting it ready, has all this other stuff to do to the laptop because he wasn't thinking it was going to get sold, and then the guy shows up, gives him $400. He gives him the laptop, takes the money to the bank, deposits it. The next day, the bank calls him up and is like, "Hey, there's an issue with this deposit you just made." And he's like, "What's that?" And they're like, "It's all counterfeit money." So we've already contacted the police, and they'll probably contact you shortly to find out more about it. And apparently, the police were like, "There's already a federal investigation into this laundering stuff. The Secret Service ended up showing up at his house and like questioning him and all kinds of fun stuff. So he was at the end of it all, he was out a laptop, out $400, and he has a photocopy of some money that was given to him for fake.
Why does he? How does he get the? How did he get the photocopy though?
I didn't ask him that. I guess that was just like an evidence, and they gave it to him to show. I don't know. It all brought it
destroy
up.
the evidence or keep it.
So it was a photocopy of the fake money, or was it actually the fake?
It was a photocopy of the fake money.
And why would they give that though if they don't want people to have that? You know,
We'll have to ask him how he got that. But
how does he get in so much trouble?
Just random stuff.
He's got like apparently he has to like I swear I was talking to him one time and I thought he said he had to call the cops out like every week or something on somebody or like once a month on some customer. I was like, what?
Maybe.
Really?
But yeah, he said that all that he got out of all that is now he has to check his the money that he receives. So he checks for the band, he checks it for the holograms, and he checks it with the pen. So
Usually you can just feel it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if it's counterfeit beyond feel.
But the bank said, or all the people that dealt with him during that said that the counterfeits that he had were fairly well done.
Well, that's probably why it was such a big deal.
Yeah, the issue that his had was that it was like 4 different plates of the same serial number. So they had he had $400 of 20s, but only 4 sets of serial numbers throughout all those 20s, and that's how he ended up. They ended up getting busted for it.
Wow.
Apparently, that serial number stuff is how it matched up to the federal case, and they.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say that's probably why, because I mean, I don't think they would come out for a photocopy of some money.
No.
But,
So, all right. Well, I thought that was all interesting, good stuff to talk about, and we're well past our hour now. So, unless anybody has anything else they want to shout out or go over, or
mid to late last year, 6,500 unwanted Facebook messages.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. From disabled notifications that they re-enabled apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess they just created a ton of new granular notifications, maybe. Because I don't remember them being that granular. Maybe they just created a crap ton of granular notifications and just enabled them all.
They did add a lot of granularization at some point.
I logged into Ticketmaster to see if I have any vouchers, and it says at present we're experiencing an overwhelming load to our systems.
I got the link too. I was going to do that after the show.
So yeah, you may not be able to redeem them now. Might have to wait for after their class action lawsuits.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
Later.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on this Tuesday. Not a lot of chatter, but not a lot of
Thanks, Shook, for joining us on this Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Fool 4878 who bailed already.
But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. If you have any questions about our software products or services, that's what we're here for. Otherwise, we'll just do this random chitter chatter, and we will see y'all tomorrow. So check us on out.
All right.
Have fun storming the castle.